Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. I'm Travis. If you're new here, welcome. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. I know it's been a while since I've uploaded a video, about 3 months, but I'm back. Today we're going to be listening to Band-Maid Ready to Rock. This is from an anime, Rock is a Lady's Modesty. I haven't watched too much anime. I have watched recently Dan to Dan, and I finished Freerin. You know, I watch anime here and there. I would probably enjoy watching this anime because I imagine Rock is a Lady's Modesty. It probably represents this band quite well, which is probably why they're doing a theme song for this band, because if there's anything I know about Japanese music is that once I started delving into Japanese music, oh my god, it's like it's taken over by women. Like, women just kick ass when it comes to metal music in the Japanese scene. So that's probably why they were picked for this band. Now, for any viewers that have seen my channel before, know that oftentimes I usually try to do a lyric breakdown for returning bands, especially like Band-Maid, who's been on my channel quite a bit. Instead of doing a lyric breakdown, I'm going to do what I normally do, is I try to get an idea of what the music is, try to get an interpretation, not going line for line. In the 3 months I've been away, I have visited Japan, and you know, I think doing this channel and everything, listening to Japanese music, it's kind of helped me be a lot more outgoing and a lot more adventurous, I guess. So I have visited Japan, I visited Osaka, I visited Himeji, I visited Kyoto. So instead of doing like a lyric breakdown like I normally do for returning bands, I think I'm just gonna kind of upload some photos from my trip, because, you know, I haven't really shared many photos. But I figured since the majority of my audience is Japanese, they would enjoy seeing some of the places I've been in Osaka and those areas, some of my trips. So, you know, stick around if you want to see those at the end. But yeah, let's get into it. Okay. So what I love about this, it was talking about reject her ideas, reject her wishes, you know, staying true to myself, struggle through it all, you forbid me, try to stop me, things of that nature. And what I think about that is it's kind of like anybody who you hold in high regard, whether it's a teacher, whether it is parent, people who can have an impact on the direction you take in life. In this instance, Japanese like metal, which I love, is like predominantly female. At least I think it is. At least that's what I listen to. For me, this doesn't seem out of character, but it was definitely a cultural difference going from like American metal to Japanese metal, where I'm like, oh my god, like American metal, I don't know any women that do metal that I actually enjoy listening to, while like in Japanese, all of it is just women. It's like, do I know any metal singers that are men that I like? I don't know. But what I'm saying is, you know, American metal where it's like a lady doing metal, that, are you sure? That's just isn't normal. You know, and so those are kind of the things I think where, okay, it's not very ladylike to play metal, you're a lady, you want to be feminine, not play metal, because that's like very, you know, potentially masculine. Things like that, or, you know, it's not realistic to want to be a rock musician or to want to be, you know, a professional musician. It's not a realistic dream. You know, you should do something that is more stable. You know, when you pursue a passion that is out of the norm, most people will choose stability and what they know over taking the chance and doing something risky. And so that's kind of what I think about when trying to stop me, trying to forbid me. Why? Who knows? It could be because it's not ladylike. It could be because, you know, hey, you want to be a professional football player, but what are the odds? You know, and it's kind of like that, where do you really want to go out on a chance and risk doing something that isn't secure? That's what I think about. If I don't love it, then I can't burn with a passion. Exactly. It's like, hey, you can do a stable desk job, but if you're not passionate about it, you're not going to commit your whole heart to it. And this is what they're passionate about, hence why they pursued it. Is it risky? Yes. Does it have an opportunity to really go nowhere? Sure. But you know what? They did it, and they pursued something they loved, and guess what? They did it, you know, with their entire heart, and it definitely worked out because they got fans all over the world. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about, you know, trying to say, oh, this is a silly dream and all that stuff, is people like safe. People don't like being risky, and those that do like taking the chance, well, guess what? I'm sure at the end they're not going to doubt themselves. They're not going to regret it, because even if it doesn't work out, they're going to be happy they did, instead of, you know, when their time comes and they pass on, they're not going to lay in their bed and be like, man, I wish I did this instead, or I wish I did this. You know, they're not going to have any regrets, and that's kind of what it's all about. I don't know anything about this anime, and I would love for, I imagine, I mean, this song is doing well. I mean, I know I'm late to it. Like I said, I haven't really recorded anything in 3 months. I've always, in some other videos, I've always kind of expressed how I had a passion for, you know, I love doing this, and it's a hobby, but I also study Japanese, and it's kind of like I've always found myself prioritizing this over Japanese, and after visiting Japan, I kind of like fell in love with the language even more, and I'm like, one day I'm going to live there, you know, I'm gonna, you know, so it's like I had to kind of, that's kind of why I haven't really uploaded much, because, you know, it was either this or Japanese, and, you know, you might wonder, well, why can't you do both? And it's because, you know, when you have like multiple passions, you have like 5 passions, it's really difficult to kind of balance it out, you know what I mean? So it's, I kind of was like, look, let me commit to the Japanese, because I can't control myself when it comes to uploading. I gotta always upload. So I kind of took a step back, and you know, Japan was amazing. I'm gonna definitely upload some pictures at the end of this. But definitely tell me about this anime. I think this anime is probably going to be a representation of this band themselves, whose passion it is to play music, but I'm sure they have everybody else around them telling them that it's not a realistic dream, but they went out on that limb and pursued it, and it worked out for them in the end. That's what I imagine the anime is going to be about. Yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. It's, like I said, it's been like 3 months since I've done a reaction. I'm a little out of touch with it, you know, it's a little new, it's weird, a little uncomfortable, but look, I like this band. This band's always been featured on my channel. I've always said that I'm going to definitely go through their catalog, and I mean, it's going to be a reoccurring band. And look, I love her voice. Hopefully I pronounce it right. Saiki? I think it's S-A-I-K-I, Saiki. I think her and Mayu from Nemophila have the 2 strongest voices. I think she has the most commanding voice of any of the Japanese female singers on my channel. Mayu is kind of just like crazy, but I think she has this like sit down, shut up, listen kind of voice. I think she has this like subtle control in her voice, very strong. But another thing that I think at least the music video kind of represents, you have these students in certain parts of this song, like here, for example. You have these students that are sitting down, you know, there's really no expressiveness from them. You know, they're all like a good student ready to learn. How she was told this isn't for you, this is a silly wish, kind of like fall in line in a sense. And that's kind of what I think about this, is like, hey, just do what everybody else does, get a safe job. Now the crowd is, you know, all the students are really expressive, they're dancing, they're expressing themselves in their own unique way. And I think this is kind of what it's about, is you can be one of them students that are kind of like everybody else, where, you know, you just take the safe route, you just work behind a desk, work a boring job that you don't love, you don't have a passion for, but you know it's safe and secure. Or you can really go out on a limb, be different, pursue what you want, whether it's crazy or not. And you know what? At the end of the day, I think you're going to be happier with your choice. Whether it does work out or it doesn't work out, I think you're going to be like them. You're going to be expressive. You're going to be happy with your choice. And you can know that you won't have any doubts. You won't have any regret. You know, you won't be on your bed wishing you did things differently. And I think that's really what it's all about. Definitely recommend any other songs. I definitely want you guys to have more of a involvement in the music that I upload. I love Japanese metal. I love Japanese music. But you know what? Any songs you guys recommend, leave them in the comments, because I want to start reacting to recommendations that you guys recommend. Even if I may not like the band, it might not be metal, which I'm predominantly a metal listener. You know, it could be pop, it could be this, it could be that, but you know, I want you guys to get me out of my comfort zone. It could be a different language. It doesn't have to be Japanese. It could be any other language. Just try to make sure they have some English captions, please. And yeah, just recommend me your favorite music from different artists that I may have never heard of. Yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.